The most I've ever said to this Peter Rosenberg nigga, when he was just talking a little spicy, just basically just saying, "Oh, Ack's just a bitch ass nigga." That's what he was saying, right? So I said, "Bro, let's do this privately. This is catch a fade. Cool. Nobody got nobody, no cameras or nothing." He said he ain't want to do it. Wrote me 3-page letter. "Bro, I'm not jealous of you. I know you're doing good." And then he just started like ranting about his life. Like, yeah, I'm not mad that I'm at the same radio station for 10 years. I'm not mad that my career's in a standstill. I'm like, damn, this nigga sound like he's about to commit it. I'm like, yo, brother. So really, like, I've never like taken when I'm going at either bozo. So you have one over the left, right? No, this guy over here, and then you have Rory over the right. Now I did say with Rory, and I'm gonna be honest with everything I've ever said. With Rory, I've said Rory crossed the line, and I would have never really even gotten to that point of clowning a nigga if he didn't cross the line of trying to intimidate me. Again, another dude who sees what they think is hip-hop perception of, oh, everybody's picking on Ack. So even, these dudes be talking like they're street dudes. Y'all are corporate dudes. Like y'all the least people I think would do anything. But the difference between me and y'all keep like alluding to like doing street shit. Only thing I've ever said about Rory, I'm a licensed gun holder. You show up to my property, my nigga, and I see you, not I see you later on the security camera. I see you, nigga. Listen, within the law, I would make sure me and my property and everybody around me well-being is protected, okay? If that means packing you up, that's just what it is. But nobody shows up to each other's house. Unless you think you some big bad guy. So, like, it's not like I was talking like, yo, when I see Rory, I'm going to run down. No! I don't give two fucks about him. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. And this is what both of these bozos is realizing. You won't engage in a war of words with Ack. And this is why I'm Ack. Online and win. I will roast you till... Yo, I roasted this fucking peon over there till he left this podcast. He broke off his engagement with his fiance. He went to therapy. You'd have thought you learned your lesson. Nigga, you lost your girl at 10 years. You left her with the ring. Engagement over. Your side chick in the pool. Who else? What happened? Kate, you got fired on your day off. You should be like, yo, Ack got it. That nigga Ack got it. Ack got it. That's all I'm trying to say. So anyway, that's the point. That's the point of what I was trying to tell these niggas, right? But when you hear these niggas talk, they be talking like it's about to go somewhere. Bro, there's zero threat of this going anywhere with Rory and Peter Rosenberg. Just listen to these niggas, man.
Yeah.
They're now playing with things that are so crazy that the only steps that I don't know where one goes after this, except
Rosenberg, you pussy, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Because if you was tight about me talking about your wife getting piped out, when I asked you if you wanted to catch a fade in DMs, you just said, of course I want to catch a fade. Nigga, you talking about some shit that's fade worthy. You said no.
To really, you alter your life in negative ways.
Oh my
God. This is where are we going now? So you know what?
I hate when these white dudes that are in hip hop start talking like they're the mafia. That's what this Rory nigga was doing. I remember when he was kind of alluding to getting people touched. I'm like, is this nigga think he's in Godfathers? Like, what is he talking about? I remember when I was just like, because somebody who was close to him, like, he's bitching. So, you know what I mean? I'm hearing everything that he's bitching about me. He don't like Joe. You know what I mean? He feel he should own the podcast. He feels, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, this nigga think he Drake or something. Like, in reality, like, he think like, yo, his legal game is nice. Joe told that nigga suck a dick. You ain't getting shit. You feel me? So anyway, I'm hearing all of this. So the person who's telling me, they say, yo, bro, why every time you get on your stream, you're killing this dude constantly? And they say, yo, bro, I ain't gonna lie, you kind of crossed the line. You mentioned this girl. I said, well, I'd agree with you, except everybody does the 50 Cent to me. When they do some shit, nobody sees that. I said, did you know this nigga showed up to my house? He said, what? What do you mean? I said, did you know the nigga showed up to my house in a fucking Kia? Not a Mercedes, a fucking Kia. And dropped off I think I still got it over there. Yeah. Nigga. Let me tell you how real my hate is. Nigga, I leave this permanently here. Nigga, I leave this card permanently right there, nigga. I don't forget my hatred for you bitch ass niggas. I hold it forever. Forever. Nigga, I don't even leave, bruh. When I wake up, when I'm doing a YouTube video, when I'm doing a meeting, I keep this over there to remind me of the niggas I don't like. You know, we got a little neighborhood watch service over here. Everybody say, yo, there's a key on the block. We thinking, okay, you know, the cleaning service probably came to clean up somebody's crib. It's a fucking ginger-looking nigga hopping out. Paranoid as actually didn't hop out of the car. They swung the door open. He looked like the USPS like little truck that I drive around. Paranoid, opens the mailbox, tosses this in there, and they tried to peel out, but it's a Kia. The shit couldn't spool up fast enough, so but it's all good. Anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say is that, man, I'm glad both of these fucking losers linked up, man. 2 ops I defeated. 5-0.
The internet is yours. Have a good time. He just did a sit down with DJ Vlad. I didn't click it. Like, do whatever you're gonna do. But I
watched it.
You watched it?
I watched it today. I think it's because when you texted me, you ended up in my algorithms and it popped up on YouTube. I was like, oh, I'm talking to Rosenberg today. Let me click this.
How bad? So give me the synopsis. How bad was it?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't. They were discussing radio and how radio is dead now and how
dead and irrelevant
and how they're the greatest. And it was a Vlad acting. And listen, the two of them together, say what you want about them, they'll be entertaining. The internet will like the two of them talking. So
yes,
damn. Yo, Rory, you see how when you mention my name this time around, you got so much respect in your voice. This is what you should have on the Joe Budden podcast as you were talking about me. I don't left you alone. But you had a lot of disrespect back then. Which I'm going to get into another thing soon. Because I don't know if Joe is hyping you up to make you feel like that, but I like the respect you have in your tone of voice here. It only took for your side chick to get piped out, me exposing the side chick, your engagement to be ruined, you getting kicked out of your apartment with your girl, you getting fired, and now you seem to have a lot more respect for Big Ack. It's cool. All right. Peter Rosenberg, up the camera quality on this shit, man. This is atrocious, brother. You're supposed to be like the Godfather of like podcasting. This is 140p. It's not going to work.
That's you know what? I like that. That's a very positive approach to it. And you're actually 100% correct. And, you know, in all fairness, in being honest about both of them, I have never been friendly or kind in how I've discussed either of them publicly in my entire life. So I can't really expect a lot back in return. I guess it's just the lines that I'm not willing to cross. That's
I feel you, and that's again why I don't do a lot of the back and forth, because I don't.
Now he's a hypocrite. I could hear Rosenberg saying this, but Rory, you showed up to the crib. You crossed every line possible. Rory, at that point, nigga, I would have paid $300,000 if I could have recruited your mom in a sex tape, nigga. I would over here violated you that way too. I don't give a fuck, nigga. You show up to a nigga's crib, you can't expect the gloves is off, nigga. When the side chick came over, I was like, we'll sell it for this. But I ain't gonna lie, man. On the list of people who, I was like, yo, I don't care if I do it. I just need one of the guys to pipe out. The moms, his girl. You got a sister of age? Like, let's find anybody. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you, man. So that's why when I this shit. So basically, I'm only saying that to say, Rory, like, when you do recount the situation, and I see you have a little bit more respect for it, just please know that I'm not just some evil person just trying to do weird shit. That's not what's going on. You guys were trying to flex on me and try to step on boundaries. I will once again, because people have amnesia, because when they see me on these rants on YouTube, they're like, why is that going that hard? Because, yeah, these things look like fucking losers with the post-game loser press conference, and you feel bad for them. Let me just remind you. I was roasting Rory that he was a employee, not a boss at the Joe Budden podcast. He got in his feelings, couldn't properly, he thinks somehow he's a comedian, which he's not funny, but cool. He one time compared himself to Andrew Schultz. Huge L. Andrew Schultz, 8,500 people back-to-back shows one night at Radio City Music Hall. This nigga could barely sell out a fucking 200 seat podcast theater. But I'll digress. So this guy has an inflated ego from what he thinks his talent actually is, right? By the way, I'll cite my sources. This was the Brilliant Idiots Joe Budden podcast mashup. He cited he's more funny than Andrew Schultz. Clearly a lie, right? Anyway, it goes into the mindset of a delusional nigga like this, right? Cool. He started to be super critical of me. I'm a public figure. I understand. Mad people are critical of me. Where I felt he was out of line was when he started to speak about my business as if I was an idiot and he was the genius. Keep in mind, according to this bozo, I should have blindly followed Joe to Revolt and left Complex. Complex said, hey, Joe's out of here. He ain't coming back. We're giving you the keys to the car. We're going to pay you more than we ever paid Joe and you combined. And we'll give you this other shit because we want more of your content. Basically saying you could be the king over here compared to you could just follow Joe and be his minion. I said, you know what? I don't know what's going on with Joe and Revolt. Them niggas never really hit me up. Everything was coming through Joe. How the fuck I'm going to negotiate through my coworker? You know what I mean? Like, imagine like you work at Target and you're trying to like, you know, figure out how much money you're going to get in terms of a raise. And you got to talk to the cashier next to you, not the boss. Like, what? I ain't doing that. So anyway, I made a decision to stay, which by the way was a very ballsy decision I had to make. Number one, Complex was getting trashed all over, but I'm not no dick rider. I'm also somebody who's confident in my own skills, my own talent, my own brand. The chat niggas, we know we gonna ride. I said, I'm not just gonna blindly follow Joe, just that the internet could think that I'm doing the right thing. Years later, in hindsight, Joe obviously, because he's super talented, always lands on his feet, but I landed on my feet as well. Here comes this bum-ass nigga predicament. They're at Spotify, which I'm at now. Hey, cool. We're at Spotify, and they're at Spotify, and it's renegotiation time. I'm hearing Spotify is offering them wild amount of money. This bum ass nigga is sharing an apartment with this girl, which his bum ass was paying down the middle. Well, maybe I can't knock him for that. You know what I mean? His girl was paying half the rent. He paying half the rent. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, like, your girl's gonna be less tolerant if you having a side chick if you're paying only half the rent. You feel me? It's one thing if you're like, the bills are paid, the nice car's out front, you'd be like, yeah, I fucked another bitch. So what? So anyway, that's going on. I get the intel. Well, I even get no intel. They keep saying that Joe told me. And I know this might be sound like rehashing, but I don't give a fuck. As I said, I keep this card on my desk as a reminder, nigga, that as soon as you see as soon as you think it's Halloween and these zombies are trying to climb out the grave, just make sure you grab a shovel and beat them over the head, throw them back in the casket, and instead of 6 feet, put them 12, okay? This bozo was talking like the business guru, but have never done any business with podcasts other than being Joe Budden's lackey, okay?
A tough guy,
essentially, I'm now offended because I'm like, I know what Joe is going through, but this nigga that was commenting on my business, why don't he comment on his? I start bringing that to the limelight. I start calling him a worker, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with being a worker. There's a lot of shit. I don't own Spotify. You don't see me over there talking about, yo, I own Spotify. Listen, I own DJ Akademiks, and the brand of that. But I am a contracted employee, a contracted worker. You know what I mean? Only these niggas, you see, only a nigga who is not only insecure, but who doesn't really have shit going on will get triggered by that. Because I was a worker at Complex. I wasn't no boss at Complex. I was a worker. I'm a worker at Spotify, but I'm a boss when it comes to academics and everything I own and I got going on. I wouldn't get offended. But of course, this little ginger nigga, he got mad offended. So I'm roasting him every week. Every week. He can't respond. I think Joe either had a gag order. Joe later tonight say, I ain't telling him he couldn't respond. He just wasn't witty enough. He claims he's a comedian, nigga. I'm roasting you with jokes, all type of shit, nigga. I'm calling you Rory. Like, nigga, come the fuck on. You ain't got no jokes back? Like, god damn it, nigga. I'm a fat gerbil looking nigga. Like, that sit on Twitch. You tell me you can't roast back? Okay. This nigga gets so mad. He's red in the face every time because, you know, they talk about public topics. I post a lot of public news. So Joe will be talking about things that I posted or things maybe that I even commented on. He's mad in the face. He don't know how to handle it. Emotionally, he's acting up. From what I'm hearing, his girl's from like the same country Rihanna from. Let me give you a lowdown about those girls. They beat their niggas. Like, you know what I mean? Women from that country beat their niggas, okay? Now, back in those countries, sometimes a nigga hit back and there's no repercussions. In America, you ain't gonna do that, okay? That's why when Rihanna was beating up on Chris Brown, that nigga got mad and swung back, you're done. Anyway, she been beating this ginger nigga's ass for all types of different reasons. Of course your bitch is gonna beat you up. You're not paying the rent. You're barely a man to her, okay? On top of that, he got side chicks this and third. I'm not here to really tell on the nigga business, but truthfully, once it's war, I don't give two fucks about you. Anyway, he gets so mad because he can't be witty enough to respond to me. Just like I like what Rosenberg said. Yo, I got it. I can't spar with this nigga like whatever. It's not like I'm saying like, yo, Rosenberg, when I see you, I'm gonna shoot you. No, it ain't nothing like that. But I'm gonna roast you to the point that your personal life is in fucking turmoil. Anyway, this bozo Rory decides, yo, let me try to show up to his house and drop a postcard to show him that I am Irish and my mafia vibes. Like my mafia vibes. By the way, how many summers ago did I roast these niggas? Like, yo, I'm still on a nigga. Jesus Christ. I know some of y'all probably like, yo, get over it. No, nigga, never. Told you, never. Okay? Never. Okay? Listen, if it could be the day of that nigga's funeral, I might show up, like, just scratch the stage, like, just jump. Hey, Rory. Yeah. I'm telling you. Just don't. Like, this is deep. Don't be like, get over it. Yo, why you still, no. Y'all know, y'all ain't notice that's me? Y'all ain't notice that's me? Nigga, it's the same thing with like Megan Thee Stallion. Bro, I don't give two fucks about the Tory shit. Bet you not about to get up here and start talking crazy. Oh, what a card said? I'm gonna tell you what the card said. This is, yo, the nigga was trying to be like some mafia boss. Like, yo. Basically trying to threaten me like, yeah, I know where you live. Here's the thing. Nigga, if you gonna do some shit like that, nigga, you gotta shoot up a house or something. You can't just do this and think niggas just going, oh my God, he knows my address. We're all public figures. If you're at a certain point, I could go up right now and look up Chris Brown's house. I could look up all 3 or all 4 of Lil Wayne's house. Bro, they're public figures, bro. Find out a nigga's address, especially when there's public. Property records are public. You feel me? Anyway, remember I was calling this bum ass nigga a worker, right? You could tell he was so bothered by it. The card he got me said, it's boss day, right? Because I was telling him, nigga, you a worker. I'm a boss. Stop telling the boss how to do business with these companies when you can't even figure out your business with Joe. You know what I mean? Because he was acting like he was talking to Spotify. Anyway, in the middle of the card, it said this. Look. Love a stooge. Remember I was calling them the 2 stooges? Love a stooge. That's what it said. Love a stooge. Like, so anyway, when I first got it, because I was beefing with mad niggas back then online, I try to keep a little Rolodex of how many niggas I be going back and forth with. I ain't gonna lie, I was like, did Meek Mill send a goon here? But I looked at the handwriting and I said, there's no Philly goon who got that great handwriting. Or who's going to CVS before he goes to spin a block and going into the Hallmark section to say, I wonder which card could intimidate Akademiks. No, I knew it wasn't no nigga like Meek Mill. So I said, all right, let me just chill. I ain't gonna say a motherfucking thing because I'm thinking it could be this dweeb or the other dweeb. You remember the other nigga? Mealy Mall. That's Jay-Z's pre-cum, bro. That nigga, a nigga called me literally pre-cum. I'm tight. So I was roasting that nigga just cause, right? What did he do to me? I ain't just like the tone that he used to discuss me. I ain't like that shit. So I just had to get that nigga early out of here, right? So I'm thinking of all the gangster niggas I'm beefing with that it could really be an issue. I'm like, who the fuck could it be? So I found the thing. Of course, as much as I'm open with y'all, bro, not an idiot. I didn't say it immediately when I got the letter. Here is the thing, and I like when niggas like, yo, you know what we assume, like, yo, these criminals are dumb. Like, yo, why would you go back to the scene of the crime? Or why would you confess the crime? Remember we were talking about in the YSL case? Why would you confess the crime in your song? It's not only idiots and street niggas who do it. Everybody does it. Look at this fucking idiot. That's how I found out it was him. So I'm holding the card. I meet with people around. I say, yo, all right. Clearly somebody tried to send a message, whatever. Let's be on high alert. We will have to handle whatever. Cool. Bet. I don't say nothing about it. But like a fucking guilty and amateur criminal that he is, he gets online and snitches on himself. One day I'm mad lit, mad drunk. There was a Tory Lanez album playing. It was like a release. I'm at my apartment because I still had the apartment and the spot. The apartment I used to stream it all the time. And I fell asleep. Everybody knows Big Act gonna fall asleep at times, dog. Like, nigga, I'm on stream. I'm comfortably here, bro. I do what I want. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, if y'all niggas gotta watch me snore for a little bit, fuck it. I give y'all good entertainment. Let a nigga sleep. I'll wake up. We gonna do it again. You know the type of time it is, right? So I'm taking a real nigga extended blink. You feel me? I'm over here cooling. Bro! Rory is on Twitter. And I didn't even know until because, like, my mans who was watching, who lived close to me, he showed up to my crib. And he like, yo, bro. Yo, he said, shut your stream off. Go to sleep. Right? And right before when I was about to go to sleep, like nigga, I'm lit. He said, yo, that nigga, like, yo, you know that nigga Rory was saying that you were fake sleeping for attention. Brother, let me tell you, let me play the direct, let me see it. I'm going to play you exactly. Nigga, this is how I fucking got up, nigga. Nigga, I'm fucking drunk as shit, nigga. Hold on. Where is it at? Nah. You know what Undertaker get up out of the casket, nigga?
Now hey, fear God.
Nah. Nigga, this is my man's telling me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Yes, nigga. Nigga, I swear. You know they say when you're drunk, they say certain niggas do cocaine. I never done cocaine in my life, but that's another thing he used to play with me. Told me I'll be playing with my nose like, nigga, yo, I'm black, nigga. I'm a Henny Casamigos demon. I don't do no pills, no nothing. You feel me? Anyway. So, nigga, when my man said that, bro, I was so drunk before. Bro, it was the most sober I've been in my life at that point. Nigga, the drunkenness just evaporated, nigga. I just sat up and I said, fuck that, I'm going back on stream. I get back on stream and I said, bitch, nigga, enough of this. I've been asking you to like, yo, I told him I was down to do a podcast 1v2. I'm like, yo, both of you bozos, put y'all together. I'll deal with y'all accordingly. They won't do it. He's tweeting at me now. So I'm on stream, he's tweeting. And every time he says something, like he would say like the boy really think he Drake or like he in like some type of mob movie. He'd be like, yo, listen, like he would just say some like mystical shit like, what was he saying? He was like, yo, just beware. You're never too far to not to be touched or something. But he kept typing like numbers before it. 3 or 4 numbers down the line, I get to realize he's putting my zip code for where my new house was at. Instantly hit me again because now I'm sober. The card that was left in your mailbox, the stooge, which you've been calling him, and you didn't acknowledge the threat, but now he's tweeting out your zip code in separate tweets with one number at a time. It's this fucking idiot. And after that point, the rest is history. I told you, you know, we called a side chick. She got piped out in a pool. Randomly, some chick came here with a friend. Like, you know, she was like, oh, you want to go to a mansion? We can go to a pool party, whatever. I'm like, why'd you tell this chick it's a pool party? Ain't no pool party in my fucking crib. So, well, she can just hang out. So I'm talking to the chick, and she was like, yeah. So I'm like, you got a man? She's like, not really, but he's about to be my man. I'm like, what you mean? She's like, well, he got like a fiance now, but like, he told me about to break up with her. Matter of fact, I was about to share, like, I'm glad, because we took phones. Like, I'm glad. She was like, if I didn't take the phone, I was just about to share my location with him. I said, damn, who the fuck, soon to be boyfriend that's now somebody else's fiance. Like, why the fuck are you doing that type of shit? She said, you might know him. I said, who? She didn't know that me and the nigga really into it. I ain't gonna lie. To her credit, she didn't really know. She was like, yo, he be on the Joe Budden podcast. I'm like, who? Now, she's a black girl. I didn't even know he liked black girls. It's a black chick. She was like, yo, his name is Rory. Nigga, this is how, I got to give y'all the visual representation, nigga. Nigga, hold on.
Be careful.
Nigga, I'm in my kitchen, nigga. I got to give y'all the visual representation. I got to give y'all the visual representation. This is how we having a conversation. I'm like, she's like, yo, say you might know him. Kind of like a little popular. He be on the Joe Budden podcast. I said, who? She said, his name is Rory. I was like this. Now the girl that came with her, I'm looking at her like, please tell me this is true. Shorty said, nah, this is true. Yo, I get all my mans. I said, emergency team meeting. Everybody, huddle around. I said, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I said, I don't care what y'all got to promise this chick. I said, this is one of the rare times. If y'all need my Lamborghini, I'll give you the keys. Spin around the block with her a couple times. This chick right here, give her the world. Make her. I said, I can't do it because this might be a Trojan horse. I said, Rory might have sent his side chick for her to come here to do some shit and then leave with some weird allegation. Not into that type of stuff. I can't do nothing with her. Okay? I can't do nothing with her. Even though pretty much everything here is caught on camera. I can't do nothing with her. One of the guys, I said, bruh, forget everybody else here. Be really nice to this chick. At the end of the night, I remember she's crying. She's like, yeah, it's not fair. Like, I feel like he's been just like spinning me. Like I want to snitch on him. And I did the boy a favor. Like, because, you know, we called the phone. She was like, yo, give me my phone. Like, I'm going to just tweet out that I'm fucking this nigga. And I'm like, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. But she ended up fucking my guy. And then, yeah, that was pretty much history. I remember this bitch, she said, yo, and by the way, if she sees this, I don't mean to call you a bitch. I'm sorry. You're a beautiful black queen. Yo, she pointed at her bag. It was on there, like, we're back in the kitchen the next morning. She said, oh, yeah. She was like, yo, you know who got me that? Rory. Bro, it was a fake Birkin bag. Never seen the shit. Like, because I remember, well, she didn't say it was fake, but bro, it was fake. Like, come on, bro. It's a sick. You think Rory, who's complaining about getting paid $50,000 by Joe, is buying a side chick a $60,000 bag? I remember I took a picture of it and asked Grand Wizard. Grand Wizard could put a word to his mother. I took a picture and sent it to Grand Wizard. And I said, Grand, you won't believe who's in my house right now. He said, who? I said, Rory's side chick is here. That's her Birkin bag, nigga. Yes. Oh, Grand's in the chat right there. Bro, I sent him the pic. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to keep this quiet. Nigga, I kept this shit quiet. But I ain't going to lie, man, I had to expose it. The chick was kind of mad. The chick was mad at her friend and mad at me. The chick was like, yo, I guess she didn't really know that she was coming here. Like, and that we had, no, she didn't know we had issues. So she was mad at her friend, like, damn, did you know they had issues? Because, like, now he's exposing Rory. Rory's girl just beat his ass. Rory hit me up and said he don't want to fuck with me because I snitched on him and I didn't mean to snitch on him. And I'm like, so I go casualty of war, bro. I don't know what y'all talking about. Bro. Anyway, I only say that to give y'all the full story once again. And I wish Rory well. But Rosenberg, let's keep it light. Leave my name alone. I don't necessarily speak on you without you speaking on me. And yeah, we go our separate ways. That's what I say. You feel me? Okay. Anyway, I don't think there's nothing more to talk about with these things.
Or anything in that regard. But I do consider myself thorough to some to some degree.
Oh my! You see, that's why I hate these podcast niggas. I consider myself thorough, bro. You know what's thorough, nigga? All them niggas in YSL who was down to kill niggas and do shit that's got them locked up. You not thorough, nigga. Bro, being a man doesn't mean like let me try. I hate when niggas try to angle criminality to like, bro, like I'm not a criminal, but I'm never gonna spin a nigga block and shoot it up. It would never happen. I hate when niggas start saying words to kind of make it seem like they're about that life. No. You wouldn't do nothing criminal. The closest thing to doing some criminal shit would be dropping a letter in a mailbox. Nigga say I consider myself thorough. Nigga, which thorough nigga is dropping a letter with their handwriting in a mailbox before they do the thorough shit?
A lot back in return. I guess it's just the lines that I'm not willing to cross. That's the
Well, I feel you, and that's again why I don't do a lot of the back and forth, because I don't, and in no regards am I a tough guy or anything in that regard, but I do consider myself thorough to some degree, and I don't play those type of games. I'm not that young and into the internet where those things like
mean
are
nothing.
okay to me. Like it's okay to me because it's the internet. Like
Right.
I'm still not that evolved, so I don't want to even participate because I don't play those types of games. So
you're what? You're in your mid-30s, right?
32.
32. Okay, 32 is old enough to not play internet games. That's correct.
Yeah, I'm not interested in it. I just bought a dining room table. I'm doing interior design in my house.
Rory, man, I hate when y'all niggas are hypocrites, bro. And again, the reason why I'm constantly rehashing history is that you guys don't have the loud speaker phone that I have. So when people see it, they're like, damn, when did act become tough? No, it's not act becoming tough. But imagine people trying you to the point that they're thinking of themselves like mafia bosses and gangsters and think you should be running in fear. You get what I mean? When someone tried to, like, that was cool with him, was try to, like, reach out or whatever, I said, bro, do you know the guy's, like, he came to my house and dropped off a letter. This was his response at first to the said person. Yo, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, he told the other person, yo, I didn't do it, but Akademiks needs to be he needs to be safe because it's really not safe for him out here. There's a lot of people that want to do stuff to him. And then even that, you're still trying to act like you're threatening, like you about to do something, right? Cool. I'm still roasting him. The same dude, who, by the way, he's also crying too. He's like, oh my God, Joe is not giving us fair. Like, Joe. Joe's like fucking verbally and treating these niggas like bitches, right? Comes back around again. The person says, yo, Ak, because really the person be watching the Twitch too. Be like, yo, Ak, you hilarious, but yo, you wildin'. I'm like, how am I wildin'? I'm like, did you tell him he's wildin' when he showed up to my house? No, you ain't tell him that, right? Well, he say he never did. Bro, I'm giving you all the fucking proof. The proof is right here. What more you need to do? I don't know if I sent the dude because I have it on security tape. Anyway, the next thing was this. Rory told this person, and this is who I know he was completely a bitch-made pussy. Because after I told the dude, I said, yo, so you're telling me he tweets out my mailing address. I call him a stooge. There's written on the thing a stooge. I call him a worker. He gives me a card called Boss Day. Like, and you want me to believe it's not him. And I see the nigga. So maybe he has a doppelganger. Cool. He goes back and tells the dude, yo, I'm going to keep it real with you. It's not me. My girl has some crazy Guyanese killers. And honestly, if anything, I've been protecting Ak. I've been telling them, please don't hurt them. They're killers. My girlfriend, her whole family, and go look it up. His girlfriend like Guyanese or some shit. Her whole family is Guyanese and they're killers. And I've been telling them, please leave Ak alone. The nigga just snitched on his girl. And I'm like, bro, you ain't even like, even if your girl did some shit, which you know it was you, but like, let's say your girl did do some wild shit, like, you're not supposed to throw your girl under the bus. That's when I realized this guy was just spineless. It was over. Yeah, like that's pretty much the last of it in terms of like me trying to see if there was some sincerity in. He was kind. It wasn't an olive branch, but he was kind of like, "Oh no, why is Ak doing this much?" Because the dude first came to me like, "Yo, Ak, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. You went across the line when you mentioned his girl and his girl's being engaged, and I could tell you what I said. I pulled his girl up on the screen and I said, yo, you a beautiful queen. You engaged to this bozo. We just piped this side chick out a couple of days ago. I'm sorry. There's no rules. The guy thought it was in poor taste. And I said, well, because he thought I brought the girlfriend into it first. I said, no, he got way personal by the time he showed up to my house. That's it. And then I never would have brought his girlfriend into it if he didn't say his girlfriend has Guyanese killers. Like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, little story down memory lane. If you are new to not a podcast but the stream, you guys could get back into that type of shit. I think it was like 2 years ago or a year ago. I can't remember. What else? We should probably move on to some better things. Okay, I was having a good time watching this ADAM22
Not turning up.
Joe Budden podcast. Okay, let's see if I can find it.
And frequencies
about covering because I've
covered your stories.
I think
honor
Grant,
demand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
More.
You
I think
could
I did,
have
all of this other stuff, then you know it's gonna be something.
Kevin didn't give a fuck about the hate he was getting the same way I didn't give a
Okay, so Adam goes on Joe Budden's podcast, and they kind of have a segment where they kind of question him about him doing certain type of content after the passing of Kevin Samuels. Now, I think I'm very much involved in this topic. Not only do they talk about me eventually, but I think I'm involved in this topic because I am media, and I've told this to Adam recently. Me and him were texting about it. I'm glad Adam's going out and doing interviews now, because for a long time I was the most public-facing media figure. You don't see the owner of Shade Room go out there and do interviews to defend why she posts certain stuff or why she allows her site and her brand to be affiliated or post certain stuff. You don't see that necessarily with Vlad. Vlad he only really does interviews with people he kind of fucks with. Who else? Q back in the day. I think people will criticize him, but this is like a different time with media. Everybody's kind of into media now. I've been one who've been just like, whether people have tried to say whatever about the brand, I usually respond to it. I remember people say, why do you go to Clubhouse and debate with people when they're not there to understand, they're there to attack? And I'm like, I feel like even though we're media, we should put ourselves accessible to the audience who might have critique, even if some of it is nonsense. But putting out content necessarily that should be serving in the public good and never being accountable or never answering questions, it kind of would make one feel like, how interested is this person into the betterment of the culture, not just only getting financial gain from it. So I've done that a bunch of times, right? I think I've done it to the point that people have even grown tired of, y'all going to hit them with the same arguments, because I'm going to get to it in this, and I'm going to skip to the part real quick. Actually, no, let me go in sequence. They're getting at Adam for what he did with Kevin Samuels after he died. Now, let me tell you what usually media platforms do. If someone passes away, if you had content with him, a lot of times you might see a re-upload or you might see a re-highlight. Vlad does it. He does flashback episodes or flashback segments when people have passed. And there's always like this question of, is it poor taste? Is it just capitalizing? And should a media platform be capitalizing off other people's, misfortunes, right? Now, I think this is very interesting because when it comes to hip hop, a lot of people love to quote what they believe is their own morality in, oh no, we're for the culture, that's why we won't do it. Yet everybody's trying to have a business in hip hop. You get what I mean? So the news media, and the reason why Ack turned to Big Ack was basically, I have to show that the people who run these platforms, not only are we people, not only should we also be respected, but we're here and just as important as everyone else, and that's why I made myself accessible. Anyway, Adam put up a bunch of clips of Kevin Samuels. Here's my overall opinion, and maybe I could hear a little bit of his before I speak. Here we go.
You're spreading that person's message more. You're getting their content out there more. And I think that when they pass, it's even more important that we celebrate their life by talking about them and serving this content up in the algorithm for the people who love them.
Tell Ish about... Oh, go ahead.
You just fucked up, though.
What?
You said when Vlad did it, your immediate gut reaction was cringy and it's in bad taste.
Right.
Why would you think that?
Because I hadn't thought about it enough.
Why would your immediate gut reaction be, yo, this is in bad taste and it's cringy?
I think Vlad was the first one through the wall on a lot of things, and that he was the one who figured out that this made sense very early on.
He dancing.
You tap dancing.
He dancing.
What?
You didn't answer my
You're not
question.
answering his
I'm not
question.
talking about Vlad.
We don't care about what Vlad
Why did Adam
Because it was
think...
something I had never seen done at first. I thought, I've never seen someone just immediately upload a person's content after they pass. Then I
Why
thought
do you
about
think
it.
that's true? Why do you think you had never seen that
And why
done?
did your gut reaction think that it wasn't a proper thing to do? Because it's not.
Because I had never seen it done.
Because
But
you
then
a
as I
human.
thought
Because you
about
a
it,
human in
I
here
actually
somewhere.
thought, that makes a lot of sense. The TV networks do the same exact thing. If some fucking fan, say MTV was still what it is right now, and God bless, Pop Smoke passes, what are they going to do? They're going to be playing hour-long blocks of Pop Smoke music videos because that's what people want to see at that moment.
By the way, I'm glad I give Adam this point. That's good. Great point. A great counterpoint. And by the way, I award this segment to Adam in totality. I think Adam had the better point. There is a very unfair expectation that only happens to usually black, let's remove black, hip-hop platforms that we don't we don't hold the same standard to when it comes to other platforms, and we don't try to boycott them when they all do the same shit. God forbid, I won't even name an artist, but when Pop Smoke did die, Hot 97 ran his music all day. By the way, there's another part of this where they ask, why did Adam turn on monetization? No one's gonna ask, why did Hot 97 play ads that particular day? They have to play ads every day. They're a business. They're a corporation. They have a bottom line. They got to get to it. So whether they're acknowledging, celebrating, whatever the case is, rehashing Pop Smoke's life, legacy, or music, they're going to play ads. No one will ever get mad at Hot 97 that you hear a Sprite commercial after hearing 5 Pop Smoke songs right after he died. You know who's getting paid from that? Obviously the radio stations. There is zero commercial-free programming on linear TV, especially just regular cable. You're not seeing that. Oh yeah, Pop Smoke died. We're gonna play a few of his songs, maybe a couple interviews we got of his, but you're gonna get ads I think the average is about like 5 to 7 minutes. That's how it works on TV. That's just what it is. And nobody gets mad at MTV. Nobody gets mad at Hot 97. But if Adam posts a video, and by the way, I'm gonna show you, there is a difference though. And this is where I was saddened that Joe didn't get to this part of it, because I remember back in the day, before I even really got into media, there was a very interesting and infamous conversation where Joe had with Vlad. And I think it started a lot of their feud. And maybe, I don't have that much time, but fuck, I like to be in depth. Joe asked Vlad a particular question, and that's super different than what Adam did. And that's super different from what most journalists do. Let me see if I can find it. Joe Budden, Vlad interview. I think it was on Lip Service. I need to play this question. Here we go.
We were talking about
Not like what I have to say.
Here we go.
Okay.
This is Joe and Vlad.
Was an asshole or
speak on BlackBerry, man, you know what you are accountable for that. And if we take that and put it on, is that what we're going to call journalism?
and Vlad TV.
The difference is I'm embarrassed. And on the very next episode of Joe.
What?
But more importantly than that, you know what my question be to niggas like you?
Here we go. I think
not niggas like you, to you.
Here we go.
Like you put up the clip of Rand going to this nigga house and smacking him, right? Now,
that was on Vlad TV, right?
Now, in a hypothetical world, because of course I'm not speaking reality at all. None of what I'm about to say is going to happen. Nobody is thinking about it happening. Now, what if niggas go to Rand house and shoot him and his daughter? What if niggas do that? Then what? Then it's not funny no more, right? Then you're not on. Then you're not on Vlad TV posting the things that you're posting, and World Star's not doing it. Then all of these outlets that are putting this up there and getting all these millions of views, nobody's posting anymore because niggas is dead.
I mean, Joe, I don't think any of this stuff is funny.
By the way, I think people would still post it. I'm gonna keep it on it. Like, again, people cover conflict. Rappers rap about conflict. They make a lot of money.
I think all this stuff is very serious.
Would you do a Vlad TV from Rand's funeral? Yes or no?
Would I do a Vlad TV at Rand's funeral? Possibly.
That exchange right there. I disagree with Vlad. I agree with Joe, but I think that's where Joe looks at shit, right? And I'm gonna say that's very much different than this whole thing with Kevin Samuels. Basically, what Joe was saying there is that, yo, would you do your video vlogging from this guy's funeral and treat it like content, like you treated violence before he got killed as content? And Vlad basically said possibly, which means maybe, just like I treat everything else, which on face value was Vlad almost kind of saying that whether like human life didn't matter. Like, there's not a point where shit isn't content anymore. You get what I mean? And I think as media organizations, I can speak for myself, I'm not going to say that conflict isn't covered, but there are parts and points of this that I believe that it's not content anymore. For example, I remember getting a video. I remember getting a video that somebody snuck while Pop Smoke was there laying in the casket. That's not content to me. Now, when Pop Smoke was making videos and banging GDK and dissing niggas, that was content. You know, that was going towards what his music was about. You get me? But Pop Smoke laying there dead, I wouldn't cover a nigga funeral like that. Y'all know I don't cover niggas bleeding out, niggas last moments. I won't post that up. You get me? Vlad said he would. And I think when I hear that, it reminds me of Joe now talking to Adam, where he's trying to almost paint Adam like that. And by the way, I haven't had that conversation with Adam. I don't think Adam would do that either. You get me? I think posting an old interview of somebody who passed away, granted, you might be like, oh, you're overdoing it, just trying to like break it up in a million parts to get money. But reposting content you did with someone who passed away, that is not shaming them, that doesn't make them look like a clown, that doesn't make them look weird or whatever type of way, I don't necessarily think is bad. So that's why I go on the side of saying I'm with Adam here. Okay? Now, granted, I think Joe was trying to get the angle of the Vlad shit, and maybe that's just a him and Vlad thing. I'm not covering a nigga's funeral like that. You feel me? Like, I'm not sending cameras to a nigga's funeral. You feel me? And honestly, usually when it comes to the passing of people, if it's not very celebratory in terms of like, we've posted, yo, you know, and this is a picture that was taken by people around him and they shared via the internet. They're like, hey, we laid him to rest. Cool. Nipsey, in very tasteful ways, cool. But I'm not into certain other things. I wouldn't consider it content because also I do know people are grieving. However, I don't see the point. I think it was a weak attempt of trying to get at Adam about this shit right here, just because, yeah, he's making money. Like, you know, being a platform, and I feel like I'm doing more talking than playing the audio because it gets into this next point. Being a platform, this is how it sounds when I hear a lot of people criticize media. They're upset that media is a business. For example, you could look at a lot of things they'll say, like they're gonna later get on to say, yo, why did you interview a drill rapper who's super young, don't have that much songs out? That's going to help to possibly his demise. You're just making money from it. You could interview another, and then the next drill rapper you could interview. Well, this all is a business. The artists use the media like the media use the artists. I've always thought, I know people thought about the Warren Chirac shit that was super devoid of the music and the artists, but can I ask y'all a question, and I hope y'all answer it very fairly? Was the Warren Chirac not pretty much the biggest promotion, media-wise, for the artist that was doing drill from 2012 to 2015? Yes or no? Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. It was promotion for these guys. That was their content. You get what I mean? So it's like, you might look at it. So if you only want to blame media, you're gonna be like, yo, Ak, you made mad money off it, which by the way I didn't. Just like they're looking at Adam and say you made mad money off whatever, which I think Adam's point is like, but like me giving this guy an interview is helping him get to the acquired goal of getting his music on bigger platform, bigger looks. He's trying to be a musician. It's not like these guys are rapping about, just hanging out like just harmless shit. They're rapping about violence. A lot of these guys, that's the content that's drawing people in, and they're hopefully monetizing off of it. So it's not just Adam winning off of this shit. You know what I mean? It's like it's a whole full circle. I don't like conversations like this because it uses the media as the scapegoat. They get to a point in this conversation where they say, well, Adam interviewed a guy named FBG Cash. He shortly died, but when he was there, he was talking about other feuds and whatever shit that was going on. And they said, well, why would you bring this kid up here to do that? You're giving such a big platform for real beefs he has in the hood. And Adam made a great point, like, it's not no kid. This is a grown-ass man. He did like 7 years in jail and came out, and now he wants to do music. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, emotionally and mentally, he's a kid. And what I felt, and by the way, Ish made that point, salute to Ish. By the way, I like these two guys. I love Ice and I love Ish. The only point I would say in retort is that when you place the blame on media to police, and I remember there was a part that were like, yo, you should be giving these niggas an IQ test. Let me see if I can find it. I know I'm talking a lot.
It all comes back to me.
And now to delete it.
Well, I was actually really asking him for the.
Here we go.
Someone's lying on me.
Months ago. And
all right, so we waited.
The man who killed Young Dolph 7.
Just
really helped a lot.
Let me
FBG Cash claims Lil Durk told him to take a photo at King Von's mural.
Rest in peace, King Von.
Rest in peace,
FBG
Cash.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is like this is not just an isolated incident.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Habitual.
That's what he talked about in the interview. That's what he talked about.
That was it.
Not funny to me.
I mean, that's
not at all.
It's an important clip. It's an important thing you talk
but
about.
This is a microcosm of this business and what goes on and how some people look at black artists, black lives. Like, come on, Adam, you got a bigger responsibility than this as a multi-millionaire from fucking hip hop.
Truth bomb.
Okay, I like that point. And this is always, and this is why I was on Everyday Struggle, right? And by the way, I love Joe's point, and I love Adam's point, and I side a lot more with Adam's point, even though I think Joe's point, it comes from a great place. I've always tried to have this conversation as very inclusive, right? How could you look at the Warren Chirac being so terrible without acknowledging that what the Warren Chirac was 1/1,000,000th of what Lil Durk was doing musically, and now Lil Durk is the biggest artist in the world, affecting way more people than Ak. How could you ignore that, but then try to get mad at Warren Chirac? Without Durk rapping "This Ain't What You Want" and 500 homicides and shit like that, we don't get Durk that's doing this. Without Durk having his team, I won't call it necessarily a gang, whatever, OTF, blah, 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 all these things, he doesn't get to this point. Where is the smoke for him, who, by the way, when we talk about it, and I always feel like I'll be using Durk too much as an example, but sorry. his message isn't that changed. It's not like, at least I stopped the war in Chirac. Dirk is still rapping about niggas getting murdered every day, but you don't have smoke for him. Matter of fact, y'all look at his art as somewhat of a sacred, and then y'all blame the people who either support it or is somewhat involved in that art getting big. However, y'all don't have the same smoke for the record label owners. When Chief Keef, you know who signed the most drill rappers? It was Interscope Records. You know who signed 50 Cent? The guy who was saying get rich or die trying, who was promoting a lot of violence? Interscope Records. Where's the smoke for Jimmy Iovine, who later went on to Apple Music, who later went on and never had to. So I remember one time I was on Everything Struggling, Jeezy was just like, yo, it's cool when you covering the shit, but you ain't had to go to none of these funerals this and third. But Jeezy, the executive at Def Jam that was putting out your records, that's profiting off your music more than you, they never went to none of the funerals either. So who actually could delegate who should stand to profit from some shit and whatever, given the fact that everybody's helping contribute to making whatever is a success? You could look at it in a vacuum and say, oh, Adam's promoting straight violence. Now, I'm only talking about shit with music. I'll be honest. I think some of the stuff when it comes to like LA gangs, if there's no music attached to it, like I watched some shit that was like about 60 Hispanic dudes that rolled up to his shit over some, I don't know, just straight gang shit without it actually being relevant to mainstream hip hop or at a level that Adam should be at. I can't get his back on that. I think that's a personal choice. He's in LA, and I think that's probably him playing his own politics, because I think No Jumper is at the point where when I went there was mad Crips. There's niggas who are in the hood. Adam is a multi-millionaire. Adam has the biggest platform on the West Coast. And I think what inevitably happens, because he hires a bunch of Crip members to do shows for him, is that there's politics being played and also politics coming out on the show. And what it's turned into is that it's not only just about culture or content, it becomes about some street shit. That I can't really comment on. You get what I mean? However he navigates that, that's on him. But when it comes to like hip hop stuff, why don't we, again, I'm the first person I believe that's ever came to say there's shared responsibility. Nobody ever, they try to say that I was responsible for all the murder in Chicago. But but nobody want to blame Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Lil Herb, all in. No. So it's one of those things where like nobody want to take real accountability. You get what I mean? It's like, it's a pointless conversation. And when I look at conversations like this, I feel it's super unfair, especially now, because in the space we are at now, Joe Budden, podcasts, and other entities are more synonymous with what people do. Let me give you an example. When I was doing my reporting, quote unquote, and I was putting up mad videos on, YouTube, doing the war in Chirac, and I was doing my regular videos, which, by the way, I can't wait to get to that. They were grossly incorrect by saying that the war in Chirac gave me my break. Hold on, let me see if I can find that.
Light shined on his project. Your own
raps about street shit, right?
Your behavior.
Not trying to promote that
all the time. And a lot of I've never seen this tape before. Sound more sinister.
Oh, like
than
when
it
you
is.
call me a domestic abuser.
Death, which is up. I don't think anybody thought that.
It's offensive to the family.
That's not true.
It's offensive
That's
to the
not
family.
true.
Literally already locked up.
I don't care. And you to tell me that you never.
He's doing more numbers than that.
Got his big break.
This nigga is the devil.
What was the movie? What was the movie?
You keep talking about me. You keep talking about me.
What's the movie with the white brother?
Here we go.
I think it's
This
really
is disgusting.
I like facing this criticism, so I don't mind getting this all out here, because I do think it's an important conversation for us to have. I also just don't think I did anything wrong. So,
Yo, dog, and you know why? I was giving you a lot of bail. No, this is what's happening.
Hey, pull up accountability.
He don't think that this shit is nothing. because he might not have grown up there. We grew up in this.
If he was stuck with his little biker buddies, he'd feel different.
No, we grew up in this.
He'd feel different.
And again, these are our fucking nephews. And you saying that drill music is your biggest genre of music that you listen to today. King Von is one of the biggest artists in the fucking drill. And you to tell me that you never seen his album cover is some bullshit.
Some random ass mixtape that is not on streaming
That's
services.
not random.
I wasn't listening to him.
You know what it is? Let me tell you this. Let me interrupt.
I love hip hop, but I never seen Ready to Die album cover.
Let me things that King Von has said in songs that are so much more offensive than him putting the score on the album cover. So I mean, regardless,
it is on streaming. It is on streaming. It's classified.
Of course,
as
it's on
album.
streaming.
So let me just show
of
you
course,
real
it's
quick.
on streaming.
Take a look right here. That's Apple Music.
Of course,
right
it's
there.
on streaming.
Look, you really think that I would look at that album cover and be able to tell that it says the
when he brags about it?
It's like 2 pixels up top.
I'm just letting you know that it is on streaming.
Why? You go out your way to find a nigga that kills somebody.
It's close to 2 pixels.
I know.
You find a nigga that
unreadable.
But that's
yo, you looking at
I don't know about the album cover. I'm just saying you guys are choosing the most bizarre example to try to call me a hypocrite based on.
Yo, y'all
this nigga is the devil.
What was the movie? Yo, what was the movie?
You keep talking about me. You keep talking about me.
What's the movie with the white brother and the black brother? Oh, y'all, that's y'all. Y'all twins. Danny DeVito and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's y'all.
Yo, what we saying is
I was thinking about a different movie.
It was a different movie. That was a different movie.
Ambulance.
I know what you're talking about.
Ambulance. That's y'all.
Oh yeah, Ambulance.
Oh, I'll get that.
What our broad point to you is, let me try to use a content example that you might understand. And even if you want to act like you don't get what we're saying now, at some point in your evolution, you will have to come to face with what we're saying.
No, he won't.
Ak got his big break doing what?
YouTube.
What on YouTube?
You're referring to Warren Chirac, but that was not his first channel. He started that channel.
I didn't ask you about his.
Yo, Adam was a chat nigga, man.
First channel.
I hate when people act like Warren Chirac was the biggest thing. His main channel was always doing more numbers than that.
Got his big break doing what?
Doing what?
Keyword there is big break.
Everyday struggle.
By the way, Adam's completely right on this.
All right.
Hey, yo, let me
I
know your fiance be wanting to kick your ass. Your fiance wants to.
I don't like him. I don't like him.
He fucks with me.
I don't fuck with this white boy.
Yo. I know your fiance be wanting to kick your ass when y'all argue.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you just a comment on this. I'm gonna give you I think is a great analogy. Because the Warren Chirac was an epic series, but it's often misconstrued these days that I built my career off of Chicago. Okay? Now, you're talking to somebody who has done over 3+, I think the last stat I got was close to 4 billion views on YouTube since I've started. I've had many channels deleted. I've had many different main channels. I've only had one Warren Chirac channel. But let me tell you when the narrative started. The narrative started around the time that people was noticing that I was leveling up. I had a lot of people listen to me just on all my platforms. And then people were like, how could we tear this down? How could we just basically make this not seem as official as how it's looking? And they latched on to the Warren Chirac. So they used to say, well, this is a guy who makes fun of dead Chicago kids. That's how it started. It like, none of these people really have any semblance of the Warren Chirac. You know why I'll say that? Because the characters I was covering in the Warren Chirac, they don't know. If the Warren Chirac made me that popular, how come y'all don't know none of the niggas other than the main rappers I was covering in the Warren Chirac? Nigga, like, if there was 8 characters I was covering a lot, P. Rico was one of them. Lil J definitely one of them. They don't know these people. So really, they never really cared about the Warren Chirac. It just became the only place when you couldn't find anything to knock somebody with, that became the thing. I'm going to quickly just show this real quick. Warren Chirac. This is the channel. Oh, shit. No, I think it's youtube.com Chirac War. I don't know my own URLs. I haven't used this channel forever. Okay. It has 389,000 subscribers. Let me be honest with y'all. This channel has done better posthumously than actually, while for some reason now it still gets a bunch of views just because people are going back. These were not the views then. Of course, I wasn't flopping because I'm a nigga. I'm a real nigga now. But all these views are inflated. I didn't even have, I think I was like, when I quit, I probably maybe had like 289,000 subscribers. So maybe 100,000 subscribers less. These views just weren't like that too. Anyway, so I haven't done it. It says the last one was 5 years ago, right? I'll look at the time. Check it out now. March 17th, March 26th, 2017. By the way, I started Everyday Struggle that time. So I quit pretty much the exact same time. All right. Yeah, and the video, this was when rest in peace, Alfredo Santana, right? I really bring this up because of this. If you look at this channel, I did 144 million views on here. Okay? I did 144 million views on this channel. This is why when people say this is my big break, let's look up just DJ Akademiks, right? I'm going to look up just channels, right? So channel. This was my main channel before anything. Let me just show you because sometimes y'all know it off the face. This is Young Me. This is when this is my first kind of like main channel, right? And this channel I retired way earlier than the war in Chirac. So I retired this, I think in 2014. So I retired one in 2014. I retired the war in Chirac in 2017. This channel still has more views. This has 149 million. This channel, which was my main channel at the time, has more views than war in Chirac. Okay, we're just going to look at random channels. My actual main channel now, let me look at I have a backup channel. Let me see if I can find that. It's called The Negotiator. The Negotiator. Fuck. I used to have mad channels. Oh, I only did 179. Oh, this has 179,000 subscribers. I think I ain't used this for a long time. Maybe like, 40 million views. Yeah, I ain't used this for a long time. I had another one with I believe like 200,000. I got deleted. That had about like 112. It got deleted. I don't know why I do know why it got deleted. I was crying like tears when it got deleted. My actual main these days, right? My actual main these days is 1.3 million. 1.3 billion. Right? To put in comparison, No Jumper as a platform has 1.39 with one channel. Well, they just got Clip Show. Compare all the channels I've had. One's got deleted. Other people who like freebooted whatever my content. It's around 3 to 4 billion. But I'm not doing this selection on Adam, by the way. I love him. Anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say is that if you watch what I've done, the war in Chirac has never been the main thing. Now, I'll give you this, and this is where people won't acknowledge. The war in Chirac has never been my biggest content, but it's always been my most edgy content. So I think this comparison is a great compromise. The war in Chirac has been, to me, what Donkey is a Day is to Charlemagne. However, nobody says Charlemagne is big because of Donkey of the Day. They say he's big because of the Breakfast Club. Do you understand that? I hope y'all get it. Tell me if that makes sense. The Donkey of the Day is the edgiest shit Charlemagne does. It is a thing, right? But what has made Charlemagne be the personality he is, and has helped him get to other levels, is the Breakfast Club. Do you get what I mean? So the Breakfast Club has made him what he is, but he does have an edgy thing that he does that a lot of times people get mad at, which is Donkey of the Day. So when I hear that the war in Chirac got me on, I'm like, really? No, it did not. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't want to sound like being egotistical. What got me on was that I created a chokehold. I had 7 channels. No. I had 3 active channels. My main, my backup, and War in Chirac. And I started with a channel called Crime Fails, never really kept up with it. So I was trying to do 3 to 4 channels. I created a stranglehold at that particular time on news reporting. Everything hip hop, every album coming out, nigga, I was reviewing shit before Fantano. Like, what people don't realize, and I was texting this to Adam, 2010 to 2013, I'll read my text to Adam, because I texted him about this. This is the Akademiks, like, whatever, if you want to. I said, yo, nobody wants to talk about how the biggest spike in my career, I hit 1 million subscribers. I hit 1 million subscribers and got the biggest subscriber leap ever. And I became like a de facto guy to go to, especially during like rap conflicts or whatever, during Meek and Drake beef. I was tweeting everything out. Nigga, I know Rap Genius existed, but I was connected. I'm like, yo, when Drake rapped this, it's because that happened over there. I was super big on it. Every one of my tweets back then was getting like 20,000 retweets, this and third, because everybody was involved in that beef. I was doing videos back and forth, breaking down lyrics. That's what got me the biggest spike in my career. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Nigga, I was treating that shit like the Cavs versus the Warriors in the finals, nigga. I was going in. Every fucking freestyle, every like post, I was going in, nigga. That's the biggest uptick in my career where I felt like fans who didn't know some of the shit they were missing in these beefs, they were getting tuned in by me. You get what I mean? So that was the biggest uptick. But like from 2010 to 2013, I was reviewing albums. I remember one of my first joints was slamming a couple Kanye albums. I used to review Drake shit, just making straight comedy. I used to review Future, all that type of shit. A lot of it was reviewing music, obviously doing news stories, right? Using lyrics to kind of create stories out of them because niggas was rapping about shit. But other than Rap Genius, you never really had conversation about them because then, like, Breakfast Club not going to cover a couple of lines, right? I would, right? Then from 2015 onwards, literally was the new rapper wave with Uzi, X, Yachty, Pump, 6ix9ine eventually, but also covering that's what 2015 was important because I covered the Meek and Drake beef. 2017, the new nigga era is here. Uzi and all these dudes, I get on Everyday Struggle. I just can't see how, people are trying to rewrite the history to be like, yo, the war in Chirac got me lit. That's not what got me lit, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie though. It was talked about within certain communities. Just like right now, if I tell you like, yo, like, say if I was covering New York drill, right? If I'm covering like, yo, the beef with like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Say they were free. I was covering the beef with K Flock and fucking D Thing or whatever the case is. Like, bro, that's not what's gonna get you onto mainstream. No, it's not. But it'll be the edgy content you do. Cause I ain't gonna lie, for some people they thought it was the funniest, most interesting content I did. I'll be honest. Anyway, I'm not tripping over it. I think by the way, this is a great conversation on both sides. Both sides. Great conversation. I texted Joe, great conversation. Texted Adam, great conversation. What I do think is missing here is that, let's be real now. And I know I got to go very shortly, so let me just get to the point. We do have to be real. We're at a time in history, right this moment, where it has to be acknowledged that what Adam does, what I do, what Vlad does, everybody who claimed they were too real of a nigga to do that is doing. What am I talking about? Vlad pioneered the breaking interview up into 50 clickbaitable clips. And you could go online right now and the real niggas are doing it too. If you go to, what's the battle rapper guy name? What's his name? I mentioned his name. I don't know. I'm forgetting his name. Everybody's doing it, bro. Cam Capone is doing it. Bro, everybody's doing it. So it's like, there was a time they used to be like, oh, it's the nerdy white guys and the corny black guy act that's doing it. Everybody's doing it. You get what I mean? Like, Joe Budden talks about the same type of topics. Maybe he doesn't go as far. And that's why I'm like, you can't knock if a motherfucker wants to go further than you into the same topic, because really, if there was a real nigga code, you just wouldn't even acknowledge it. But obviously, you acknowledge some violence or some type of violent type music in hip hop. So now it's becoming nuanced in how you're critiquing. You're saying, well, I wouldn't go that far in talking about it. But now you're telling another person that they gotta adhere to your code. You know what I mean? We're all doing the same shit now, right? Everybody's a podcaster. Everybody, Matt Hoffa. Everybody's a podcaster. Everybody's clickbaiting. Everybody's talking about everything going on. There was a time when they used to say, oh, it's chatty patty. Niggas like Akademiks and Charlemagne are gossiping. Everybody talks about everything. I could look up right now and I could Google Joe Budden talks about YSL indictment. And maybe he ain't jumping all the way into it to say, well, this person is beefing with this person and I heard this and third. Granted, I'll give him that. But we all are basically doing content. It's just that I feel it's hypocritical when you're just telling somebody how far to go. That's why even with Adam, for example, shit, if I'm him, I wouldn't do some of the, like, I think he's into a lot of LA politics. Sometimes I'm watching it, I'm like, why does this look like a gang, like, symposium? Like, you know what I mean? It's a LA street gang politics symposium. I wouldn't do that. But that's on him. Now, am I going to tell him to stop? No, there's going to be repercussions or there's going to be consequences that he would have to face or that will eventually happen, and that's on him. I don't have either opinion because it would be a hypocrite of me to tell him that he should do it like this because I'm doing it like this because I do my own content different ways that he probably wouldn't do. Like when I did the war in Chirac, I think he even mentions it here, he wouldn't do the war in Chirac. So again, we're all content creators, and the only thing, just to wrap this up again, this conversation was very different when the majority of music wasn't content creators and it was dudes who were just living privately or just expressing themselves with art. Every nigga is a podcaster. Every nigga has a mic. Every nigga is telling stories or recapping or putting shit in their own words or giving their opinion about it, whether they're getting really into it, whether they're clickbaiting, everybody's doing it. I think it's super unfair these days to act like Adam, to act like Vlad, to act like Sean Cotton, to act like Akademiks, to act like any of the people who are doing media, maybe like as a bigger brand, is to be held to a standard that really nobody else is held to. So that's my opinion on it. I think this conversation is dated. Like, some of the stuff that I'm talking about, like podcasts are going to talk about too. They just won't say it first, right? So a podcast is going to talk about, if I report, yo, O Block just got indicted, they're going to mention it on their podcast. They just won't break the news. We're talking about the same shit. You know what I mean? Anyway. All right. Okay, cool. Yo, I really almost have to go. Damn. And I spent my whole time on 2 topics. Fuck. By the way, love these conversations. Joe was trying to call me during this podcast. I wish I was in a room. Salute to Joe. By the way, I told him his podcast is booming recently. They bounced back from letting go to Stooges. The Stooges, they're flustering. They're doing bad. They're down bad. God is good. And Joe is winning. And Adam doing his own thing. You know what I mean? He's fucking hordes of whores. And he got his own platform. Very unique to him. Congrats to him. All right. All right, let's keep this bitch moving. What the hell more can I talk about in like, shit, how much time do I really got? Fuck, okay, all right. I got that much time. Let me just see. Yes. Oh, I got to talk about YSL. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'll touch on this real quick. This is the DA, right? This is her speaking. I did a video on this, by the way, on YouTube. This is her basically speaking on if there are snitches who previously was willing to snitch, trying to not cooperate anymore. This is what she said.
We've seen a lot of delays and people not wanting to testify, and even some people who originally were willing to testify now filing to delay. Do you think this is part of a general tactic to push it as far past the election as possible by certain people?
You're an excellent reporter, but with that, I'm going to end this press conference. Thank y'all for coming.
By the way, so I've been given a little bit more information, even maybe what I may have known on the video that I did on YouTube. So let me give you the breakdown. This necessarily wasn't just solely about the YSL case. There isn't, like, the trial dates, the earliest one is in January. From what I hear, about 10 to 12 of the defendants out of the 28 don't have attorneys. Honestly, it's unlikely this shit will go to trial anyway in January. I think a lot of attorneys are going to go for adjournments. People are going to want to push this shit back. People are going to start coming to plea deals. And, of course, there will be snitches. Now, let me just speak on that. One of the situations and the reasons why this district attorney is very concerned about the welfare of the people that are going to be testifying is because they are kind of needed for conviction. This whole situation, if you especially look at Young Thug doesn't get convicted unless niggas actually tell on him. I'm going to be honest with you. No one tells on Young Thug. I think you'll be very hard to secure a beyond reasonable doubt guilty verdict, because everything could be circumstantial. Everything could be it just happenstance in the sense of, yeah, not because Thug rented a vehicle means he instructed somebody to do the killing. What proof do you have that he told somebody to go do a killing? Did you ever find Thug with a gun in his hand at any time? Did you ever? So basically, it's going to require somebody piecing it together. It's going to require somebody cooperating to say, well, why did you buy 2 ski masks over here and then give it to this person here? We have you on surveillance tape buying the ski mask. Why would you do that? Like, the ski mask was used as a murder. You're going to be accessory to murder or something like that. Now, that person who probably isn't in a gang, it could be a girl, somebody's baby mama, somebody's girlfriend, somebody that's just out the way. They'd be like, yo, okay, I'm going to cooperate and say, well, this is a guy who told me to buy a ski mask. And when he told me to buy a ski mask, Young Thug was right there. Young Thug pulled up to the same spot when they told me to. So it's one of those things where, like, this RICO case and pretty much all RICO cases usually rely on confidential informants. Now, I think one of the things that we don't know at this point, and it hasn't been revealed yet because the full discovery isn't all the way submitted, we found out that some people were cooperating basically over years. What we haven't found out is, I won't say not necessarily who, but exactly what they have in terms of, remember in the 6ix9ine case, we found out pretty close to trial that the driver had 6ix9ine's car bugged. You get what I mean? They kept that secret for a very long time. You get me? They just said in court for a long time, we have video of the kidnapping, right? When everybody heard video of the kidnapping at first, that this was doing bail hearings and shit like that, people are like, oh, okay, well, maybe they caught a surveillance footage of it. It was until they were close to going to trial and they submitted the full discovery, they basically said, no, the driver of the car was basically a government agent because we wired his car with his consent and he knew all this was being taped. You get what I mean? And yeah, when they pulled that shit out in court, 4K footage of you kidnapping 6ix9ine, you're going to jail. So these are things that I believe that the prosecutor probably has, but I do believe that, you know, people like, say, 6ix9ine's driver, there's always going to be a few of those, right? Like people who have been caught up in some shit and assisted the police with their further investigations. I think what this might even allude to is that the main witnesses, like there was a nigga named YSL Woody. Yeah, of course. Like, shit, I don't know if he was going to tell, but shit, if he was going to tell, I would imagine there have been so many threats on his life and his family that he probably telling the cops like, yo, bro, give me the extra 10 in jail, man. I ain't about to have me be the main star snitch and they kill my whole family. You know what I mean? So do I think this is going to affect the case? Somewhat. Do I think it's going to make them beat the case? Hell no. Bro, it's 28 niggas, my nigga. It's like, yo, first of all, they always say 2 people could keep a secret if you kill the other person. Think about that. 3 people can't keep a secret. 28 motherfuckers, if you think they about to stand solid, get the fuck on out of here. You get what I mean? And I think that's the point. Somebody said, yeah, you gonna pay the snitches. Nah, I think this is serious, man. There's two situations, and by the way, she talked about it, touched on it real quick. You know, when they mention this too, they're talking about elections coming up. You know, the district attorney is an elected position. Also, there's a lot of politics at play. There's a lot of politics at play when it comes to YSL. There's a lot of politics at play when it comes to, obviously, the DA trying to make sure that she gets to the White House somehow. Remember, Kamala Harris, she got to the position she got in, which I was always like, it's crazy when I see black people will support any black face. Like recently when I said the Trump shit on, I was like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, if right now I was voting and it was Trump and Biden, I'm voting for Trump. People are like, oh my God, you said Trump. And everybody's wild. It's like, bro, like y'all gotta be able to think for yourself. You don't have to even agree with that. And by the way, I might even switch my opinion. Who cares? But bro, you gotta be able to like just stand on an opinion and also just not be a sheep. It's like, put like this. Kamala Harris, you know how she got to the fucking White House? She gained a reputation by being tough on crime. What did that mean? She gained a reputation by locking away people that look like her. I'm not saying that she shouldn't, because most of them were doing crime, but she went in the precinct. She had the face and the color that people couldn't say, oh, it's racist. And she fucking put hard years on niggas. That's how she gained a reputation. And then they say, well, we could use your face and complexion to get the black people to fuck with us. So what it is, what do you think she's doing? She's targeting, bro, she said she watches Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she said, yo, she's locking up a nigga who robbed one of the people on the show because she likes the show. Bro, she's literally like, again, by the way, she is going at Trump too. She's going at Trump for some like voting shit. But outside of that, she's primarily targeting black people with crime. When I say that, I'm saying that crime happens all around. Crime happens with fucking white collar crime. It's a lot of people doing crime or potentially doing crimes. And she's more involved in just gang shit. Now, granted, shootings and shit like that has gotten out of hand. So they're like, I don't think people are looking at her like, yo, you're a sellout, because truthfully, people keep saying that Atlanta has changed. Niggas have just turned that shit into a shooting zone and people don't like it. However, she's going to gain her reputation off of locking up some of these people. So here's what I'm saying. She got to play this also very close to ear. She got to be very keen on this. I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to election time, when it comes to, you know, obviously the fate of her being in the balance, she needs convictions. She needs murder stats down, shooting stats down, to justify why you've locked up so many people who, to the masses, they love. Atlanta loves Young Thug. So to justify why you have Young Thug in jail and you want to keep your job, you got to show that ever since we locked up Young Thug and his comrades, crime went down. So I'm right. Right? So again, they're playing politics a lot. You know, she has to be aware of these timelines, and, you know, she's trying to make, like, if you ever watch The Wire, I think it's the best TV show ever. The Wire just shows how everything is politics. Everything, like, you know, it's the full circle version. It's like, yo, somebody's about to run for a particular office. Shit, if the agenda is job creations, shit, they're going to extend a bunch of loans to businesses that they can hire people. You get me? Even though it's going to put the city in debt. But now you get more people hired. You get to show up to a press conference, be like, yo, actually, the unemployment rate is down. Like, I'm doing a good job. That's how it's politics as usual. Oh, crime is a big problem? Crime is an issue? All right, cool. Let's lock all these motherfuckers up until I have to get reelected. Then I could be like, ever since I started putting out these RICO indictments, crime is way down. You get me? So you lock up anybody who could possibly be doing anything bad when the next, because they usually do it in quarterly stats. When the quarterly stat, I think there's a police commissioner right back here. They usually wear this. I don't know if it's in land, but this is usually the color that they wear. If not like a suit. Anyway, when the stats come back to be like crime been down ever since Young Thug and him got locked up, she looks amazing. You know who's doing the voting? Not the Thugger fans. It's going to be like the regular people, the old people in the communities who just want to see results. Be like, okay, there's been less shooting on Cleveland Ave. You know what I mean? Cleveland been quiet. Great. Let's put her back in office. So there's a lot of politics being played. I don't think that she think her case is weak, but I definitely think she's playing a game of keeping these motherfuckers locked up, not back on the street, because she wants to try to keep crime down to get, I don't know if she's going to be up for re-election or whatever it is, that she going to make sure she does a good job, that she can move on, move up the ranks, and eventually become vice president or maybe president of the United States. This is how it goes. And Young Thug, unfortunately, is a pawn on her chessboard where she feels like him and his organization, YSL, is doing too much fuckery. So she's getting them out the way. The drug rich niggas out the way. She got some other Crip niggas out the way. She got the YFN niggas out the way. And she's clearly saying she's down to stuff the jails. Yo, there's stuff in the jail. Let me put it in perspective. Even this, like, you know, press conference, they locked up 16 people. Is it 16 or 26? I can't remember. These new people, like, Fulton County jails is facing overcrowded. They're locking up so much people, they're sending them to other counties. Oh, well, we don't got no space for you here. You got to go over there. So again, she believes in locking niggas up to keep the crime down, and that's her strategy. I think there's still a lot of snitches that people don't know about yet, but they'll find out closer to the case. And I think she's playing the game of, let me not speak too much about it, because the internet cares this much about this situation. I don't want him to find another one of the snitches people and start threatening that I could lose another witness. And by the way, from what I've heard, there's at least half a dozen snitches. And when I mean snitches, people who are cooperating with them, helping them get information, down to testify, pointing shit out, signing proffer deals. There's at least 6 of them. Not all of them are in YSL. Just people just don't want to be charged. Imagine you were the driver of like Young Thug, and Young Thug used to be on the fucking phone talking about, yeah, slide on that nigga, man, slat, slime, all that bullshit. Yeah, now they said, well, we think you in a conspiracy because you was driving a nigga around all the time as a chauffeur. You know what they going? That nigga probably gonna say, nigga, I'm just a driver. I'll tell you everything that Young Thug said, but don't charge me. All right, cool. Sign a proffer. You tell everything you know what Young Thug did. Cool. We let you off, and we're gonna use your statements to keep Young Thug in jail. That's just how it goes, brother. Okay, yo, chat. I do gotta get out of here, man. I gotta run. I have to run. I am so sorry. Sorry I went on a 30-minute rant about certain shit because I could have used my time a little bit better. But let me go interview the RDC boys. I am excited and happy to talk to them. If you have any interview questions you want me to ask them, send it to my DM. I'm going to try to get this interview out for you tomorrow. And also the Taz Taylor interview, which was so good. We fucked up that we don't got the video. So that's why we're about to only have to work off the audio, but it's all good, all right? Hit me, people. I love y'all. Yeah. Memes are contagious. All my people, all my chat niggas, love y'all. I will be back. All right, cool. I'm out.